I think it just means that we get to tell stories from our communities, but ones that are good, can stand alone on their own. I think so many people feel like this project might be checking boxes in some way, but it's a great story first and foremost that happens to center around an Indigenous Choctaw community and around a deaf Indigenous protagonist.
Yo people, welcome back. Now the Echo Show, something I haven't really spoken about on the channel, but I've let all the pieces gather up before it's released on Tuesday the 9th of January. I bet some of you didn't even know that. But before we cook this one, I just want to say in advance, no negativity is aimed to the main actress. She's actually pretty humble from what I've seen on social media, in interviews, and it seems that Disney are basically just trying to profit off of her. However, she is unfortunately about to get fed to the lions and absolutely sacrificed by Marvel and Disney in their latest woke adventure. By the way, I had to search up how she got cast as Echo, what previous experiences she had in acting, just because I was curious, and this is what I found. So she was speaking to Variety and said, "It's just so crazy that I'm getting my own show after Hawkeye. That was like my first acting role ever." She followed up by saying, "I don't know why they're giving me this opportunity, but I'm just grateful." And if you're wondering how she got found, Marvel had a casting call for a deaf Native American character, so that pretty much sums up that. Like I said, they literally used her to profit off of her disability and her ethnicity. Did anyone really leave that Hawkeye show wanting an Echo show? Did anyone even know who Echo was before the Hawkeye show? Not a lot of people. And the reason I'm saying Marvel is taking advantage of her is because even they know this show's gonna flop, and I'll give you some reasons why. So conveniently, for the first time ever in Disney Plus MCU history, they're gonna release all the episodes of the season in one go for this show. They want to rack up all the watch time before they get roasted and people aren't bothered to wait an extra 4 weeks for the show to finish. Very smart, Disney, but we see you. Next is the review embargo, which for this show begins when the show is released. Now, for those of you who don't know what the review embargo is, it's basically when the reviews for this show come out and when YouTubers, content creators can post their early access review videos and all of that stuff. I've seen it happen where shows allow it from 1 week up to 1 day before the show is released, but this show, only after the show has come out. I wonder why. That's definitely not dodgy. We've heard how the executive producer for the show said that representation was extremely important, and apparently the character's background and powers have been completely changed compared to the comics. That on its own is big trouble because for a few years now, whenever they try to move away from the comics, 8 or 9 times out of 10 they ruin the whole story and they could have just stuck with what was in the comics and what works. These changes are probably a sign that they're going to push the representation and identity politics in this show, and if you weren't aware, the executive producer is Native American and transgender. So we have the executive producer of the show saying representation was extremely important, but now, as you saw in the intro video, one of the actresses is saying that the show isn't a tick the inclusion boxes show. I'll replay you the video.
I think it just means that we get to tell stories from our communities, but ones that are good, can stand alone on their own. I think so many people feel like this project might be checking boxes in some way, but it's a great story first and foremost that happens to center around an Indigenous Choctaw community and around a deaf Indigenous protagonist.
So which one is it, Disney? You got the executive saying something, you got an actress saying another thing. And in terms of this actress, that, ladies and gentlemen, is prime Disney ego. She's saying that this show isn't a tick the boxes of inclusion show, but everything just magically falls into place. That is the typical, no, you're wrong, we weren't trying to do that, even though us as the audience, we have proof. We've literally caught them in the act. I've literally shown them contradict each other from their own show, and they continue to lie. I watched this whole interview, by the way. Both of them just chat shit for 6 minutes. If you wanted more proof, don't worry. Marvel released a clip last week spoiling a fight between Daredevil and Echo. At this point, they're just being very desperate, and it looks very sad that they're spoiling Daredevil's appearance, his fight. I don't know how much screen time he's getting, but just to be spoiling that kind of stuff shows they are down bad. I've seen a lot of push towards Kingpin, towards Daredevil, so not even the main protagonist of the show. I don't get how $1 billion company with hundreds of employees thought that making this show would be a good idea. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I appreciate the support. Drop a like on the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and if you're new around here, thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.